Welcome to the Gravity Well podcast with me, Jenny Yeremy. I host the Gravity Well to celebrate and share the stories of people looking to empower others with the knowledge and skills required to re-establish stability in our communities. My mission is to work through heavy issues in conversation and process in order to lighten the load. I acknowledge that I live on the traditional territories of Treaty 7 and Métis Districts 5 and 6. The treaties and self-governance agreements established by Indigenous peoples were created to honor the laws of the land, maintain balance with nature, and give back to uphold reciprocal relationships. This knowledge and intention are what guide the Gravity Well conversations. I ask for genuine dialogue, real hearts, and openness to different perspectives. This is your invitation to find common ground with me. Positions taken by participants, either individually or collectively, do not necessarily represent those of the Gravity Well. This podcast is dedicated to the natural world, our children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren, and all future generations. The Gravity Well is on YouTube and streaming wherever you get your podcasts. If you like what you see and hear, remember to like and subscribe.
Welcome to the studio, Denise Salmon. I'm so excited to have you here. You are in Calgary East. Can you remind folks where Calgary East is, please?
Yes, Calgary East is majority southeast, just south of Memorial Drive in Calgary. So we cover Pembroke, Dover, Forest Lawn, Forest Heights, Abbeydale, Applewood, Belvedere is a newer area as well. So a little tucked away, but kind of those areas that people know when you say the name, they can recognize them. So
absolutely. Yeah, my husband's a city firefighter, so I'm familiar with most of those communities. Thank you so much for stepping up to do this, Denise. Would you mind telling folks, how did you get involved with the Recall Sting campaign, please?
So I'm a teacher in the city here. So I wouldn't say the strike was like the culminating event for me personally, but it definitely was the nail in the coffin, maybe. But I've kind of been experiencing the hardships of what it is to be a teacher under this current government for quite some time now. And so I did notice a significant shift in public rhetoric around teachers and education since the UCP's election in 2019. And I've just been trying to keep doing what I do because I think that it's important and I love being a teacher. So that was definitely one big motivator. But once I saw kind of the Operation Total Recall and stuff take off, I was ready to help whoever wanted to start one. And then when I saw that nobody had started one in my area yet, I jumped on it and did it myself. Maybe not really recognizing how much work it was going to be, but I just feel like it's important. And I think that this government has done so much without consulting the constituents and the people. And in my riding specifically, I've lived here for my entire life, basically. Like 30 of my 36 years have been in Calgary East in one community or another because I moved around quite a bit as a kid. But I truly do feel like this riding, because of maybe the not so positive reputation of some of our areas, gets overlooked by a lot of people in power. I'm personally just tired of feeling like we don't matter and our voices don't matter. And this is my opportunity to try to give those voices back to those people. I used to teach in this area, and like I used to tell a lot of my students the same kind of thing, like just because you're in this area doesn't mean that you're not important. And so I try to carry that message through the recall as well. And I just think we need an MLA that represents what we need and what we want. And like the other big one for this area is the cuts to the AISH program and the changes to AISH. And we have lots of AISH recipients that live in our area, and lots of people are really upset with how things have transpired. So all of those things kind of culminated, but I just knew it had to happen. So I stepped up and got it going.
Thank you so much, Denise. As somebody who's been working on the resistance movement for a year or more now, I know how long it takes to build momentum. So thank you very much for stepping into this work. It's a lot of work, especially on top of, like you just described, teaching, which is work upon work itself, because you go above and beyond in that job already. So I am so grateful for the teachers for striking and for helping wake up Albertans to what's been happening in your community specifically for a very long time. We have been ignored, and I think most of us have had the privilege of not realizing that, and now it's coming full circle and we have to do something about it. So thank you for having the courage and the understanding to step into that leadership role. with great joy that I feel like I'm in community with you. So thank you. So how about you talk a little bit about how it's going? You know, you and I were talking before we started here that you have one of, if not the lowest number of signatures required in your constituency because of the low voter turnout. Can you just describe the numbers for folks a little bit, and then we'll get into how it's happening or how it's going? I mean.
It's been interesting. So like before we actually officially submitted our petition, we had lots of people step up to volunteer. Just when we were like in the works of getting the paperwork handed in, we had lots of people step up. And then it kind of gained leading up to Christmas. Like we had lots of people offering to volunteer. We got our website up and running. We have a fabulous communications team who does like all of our social media and manages all of our advertising, which is amazing because I'm not skilled in that regard. So like we've got some really solid individuals supporting the campaign. And it's been a really nice and refreshing realization because I think I've just especially the last 6 months, I've really never felt so much like wanting to leave Alberta as I have in the last 6 months. And I've never really thought about it as much as I do now. But it's nice to kind of get that reassurance that I'm not alone, because for the longest time, I just felt like I don't belong here anymore because I don't align with the people who live here. So it's really nice to like see that there's lots of people living in my communities that are on the same page, that are fed up and tired. And so like having everyone come together has been really, really awesome. We do have like a lower number of signatures that we need to get. So we need 8593. So it's lower than most, but it also is reflective of the riding with low voter turnout, low engagement politically. And so it's been a slow start, especially with holidays and stuff. So definitely like I'm hoping things are going to pick up. I'm hoping the momentum will come back because I feel like Christmas just kind of took the wind out of our sails a little bit. But with that being said, we definitely need way more volunteers, way more canvassers, and I'd ideally like some folks that would be willing to go with our canvassers so we can divide and conquer. Because right now when we're like doing our door knocking and our signing stations, we have like a canvasser with another canvasser because we don't have any non-canvassing volunteers. And if we could kind of amp up that volunteer base, then we could divide and conquer larger swaths of territory basically. But I'm hoping that January we're really going to hit the ground running and see the numbers jump up for us.
Wonderful. So it sounds like you're laying the groundwork, but definitely need more hands on deck. And you know, you and I were speaking offline. We can do a better job in terms of making sure that volunteers are being used most effectively between the campaigns, because that is the luxury of a volunteer, is they have the flexibility to go where they're needed. Yeah, let's make sure that we are helping each other in terms of our social media reach and our ability to help boost each other through physical bodies on the ground in the best way we can, especially when you have such a small bar to reach. I think there is a big potential here. And the other thing that I think is really interesting about your riding is the potential to increase that engagement, to help people feel like there is a purpose in participating again, and their voice does matter, and they can do something very simple but very powerful. So let's make sure we support you in getting that message out. How about, like you talked about your team, and I'm so glad that you have a key core team that you're collaborating with. And I feel the same way. The word I use is cathartic. You know, it feels nice to talk to people that understand it, and then you feel you're not crazy, and that there is like you said, you know, I was just talking to a neighbor and a friend of mine day before yesterday, and she also said she's ready. She's feeling like she's ready to leave if this party wins again, because it just feels so hopeless. But, you know, me as being a geoscientist, I feel a sense of duty to stay here and to see this through and to make sure that we can actually, you know, have fresh water in Alberta and have an economy for our kids and for anybody who lives here, you know. So it's a war inside my head all the time, I think, thinking about these things. So thank you for acknowledging that. It's a very hard place to live right now for those who are awake, for sure. So let's talk about that. Yes. Like I was saying to you offline, that I think that some of the things that'll come of this from us, from our team, from the core team that is, you know, fully engaged in this, is we want to help drive platform and policy. You know, instead of looking to politicians and what they're putting out as the options, we want to say, no, this is what the things that we want from you. Will you commit to those things? And perhaps we put forward a candidate if there isn't one that is willing to do something in one of the major parties saying put forward, you know. So that's one of the things we're
Yeah.
looking at. The other thing is, again, coordinating, as I was saying to you, between our constituencies. I think there's such an opportunity for us to learn from each other. We already have. And I want to make sure that we do more of that beyond this. So how about you? What are some of the things you guys have spoken about in terms of what comes next, regardless of the outcome of this specific recall count?
Yeah, I wouldn't say my team has necessarily spoken about what comes next because we're focused on this so much, but I would say like in the grand scheme of things, we have lots of folks within our campaign that have done door knocking for different, like whether it's federal or provincial stuff in the past. And so even just having a network of people who are, politically connected, but like I feel like we're hopefully trying to engage more of our voter population. Like I said, I'm really trying to show the people of these areas that they matter and that we do have power, and that democracy can work in our favor if we just use the tools ahead of us to actually like make things change. So my hope is that like the most common response, honestly, that I've been getting at door knocking is, who's our MLA, right? Like they have no idea. And I'm not sure if it's the same in your areas as well, but it's just like, that's the problem, is that nobody really knows. And it's not, maybe it's because they didn't vote because the turnout was low, but either way, you should have some idea of who's representing you and what they're doing to represent you. And I think that's the problem with politics in general, is that they vote for a party because they've always voted for the party, or they, whatever it may be, and they're not actually doing the research to make sure these people are serving their needs. And so my hope is that we just have more of a politically engaged group of people. And then even if that, leads to a similar outcome next election, at least the people understand that they have the ability to advocate for themselves and actually hold their MLA accountable. Like I actually went and spoke to Peter Singh prior to starting this recall. And I sat down with him and I asked him a bunch of questions to kind of see, like, to give him a last fighting chance and let me know what he's done for our riding. Cause like I said, I've lived here in my specific residence for almost 10 years. I've not heard a word from him since 2019 when he was elected. And so I just basically said, like, what are you doing? What have you done in the last 6 years that has actually represented our constituents? And he actually could only list 2 things, and they were both from 2019 and 2020. And even those things, like one of them was the budget of the UCP, which he had nothing to do with. And the other one was a bill that he didn't even pass, he just supported. Right. So it's, there's no legs for him to stand on in terms of saying that he's serving the people. And so meanwhile, we're all just kind of dealing with things becoming unaffordable and unsafe and, feeling like we're left in the dust while everyone else kind of gets raked over the coals. So I just, I hope that we see more engagement. That's the bottom line, I think, is that people are going to wake up and start recognizing that they have a say.
Yeah, thank you for saying, this problem. Just yesterday when I went out, there were people that said, who are you recalling? Is it a conservative MLA? Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I support conservatives. Really? Like, this is not conservatism. This is open corruption. And that's, those are the conversations I've had with people. This is not conservatism. So you're right. The word of a friend of mine has said that I appreciate is reverence. People give reverence to this party, this name. I mean, the UCP knows it. There's a reason why they struck the name conservative from a possible party name. They know, they saw the polls that if there was anybody else bearing a conservative title, they would take it, because this is not conservatism. This is corruption. So it is real, and it is, if anything, this is forcing us to have challenging conversations with our neighbors and helping them see, like you said, not only that they have an opportunity, but a responsibility to look past that label and do the work and make sure that they understand that there is really nothing behind that name that they should be aligned with at this point. Watching our rights and freedoms being taken from us in so many ways, it's just not something to think that is in our best interests, anyone's best interests, not even the conservatives. Thank you so much, Denise. This has been wonderful. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to chat with you. Is there anything you'd like to add for folks before we part, please?
The only big thing is, like, if anyone is out there that wants to volunteer, please reach out through our website, recallpetersing.ca, and we will take any and all help that we can get.
Perfect. Wonderful. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that we support you guys better. you know, this is a scramble for all of us. So we're doing our best to also align with each other. But, you know, we see that the other side, our government is working very closely together in, you know, collaboration against us. So we should be doing as much as we can in return.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time today. Thank you for stepping up
For
to the
having
plate. And whenever I can support you, I'm going to do my best to do so, Denise.
Thank you.